Okay, guys, so today we're going to look at the solution for the assignment, the previous assignment, using regular expressions to search a text file. This is a fairly interesting problem, and it may be a little bit past what you're able to deal with. So we're going to go ahead and look at this as a solution. Now, caveat, this is by no means the only way you can do it. There are a lot easier ways and there are a lot more complicated ways. This is just a way. So this is the way that I ended up using. But that's up to you how you decide to do it. If your code works but it doesn't look anything like mine, that's fine. That's great. But we're going to go ahead and look at what I did, and then we'll see, because some of the things are going to have to be similar. You're going to have to use the file object because I told you to open a file, and you're going to have to use the search object for regular expressions because that's the whole point. But beyond that, there are a lot of other ways that you can do it. I added a little GUI, or not a GUI, but a text interface of mine to ask you what path and what pattern. So I was being a little clever, but you don't have to do that. You can hard code all that information in. It would be a lot easier to do that. Or you could go a lot more complicated route than mine, and that's up to you. What I want you to look at, though, is just how I chose to do it and how it works. Let's go ahead and look at the desktop here. Okay, so first of all, here is the code that I have. So you should be able to see that all right. Okay, the first thing we have to do, of course, we have to import regular expressions object. If we don't do that, if we don't import the library, we can't use any of it. And what I did here, this next set of text, is I defined a function. That is the definition of a function, and I named it search underscore text. So I defined a function. If you'll recall, we did that earlier. I named it search underscore text, and I gave it two parameters: the file path, which is the path to the text file you're going to search, and then the pattern. This is the pattern that you're going to use to search for. This is your regular expressions that you're going to use. So I defined a function, and now here's something new. You would not have known to do this because I just haven't introduced it yet. I will shortly, but put it inside a try and catch loop. Basically, a try and catch is if you think something may not work, it's good to put it inside a try and catch. Basically, it's like a loop or an if-then statement. But what it does is it tries to do something, and if there's an error, then it catches the error and prints out this exception here. So we try to catch it, or we try it. If it doesn't work, we catch the exception and print it out. And so that's what this is. Don't get hung up with this. But inside my try loop, I'm going to use the with statement, and I'm going to open this file, which is the file path from up here. I'm going to open that text file as a file, and I'm going to name that opened file R. And I'm going to open it as a file. So I'm using a with statement, and it's just like any other loop or if statement or whatever. You have to put a colon, and then we're going to indent. So I've opened the file. I've called it R. Now inside the file, I'm going to write a for loop for each number line, because what I want is the number line, or the line number of where I find my results at. So for the number line inside of line, and then I use an enumerate statement to basically break this file up into lines. I'm going to start at number 1. I'm not going to start at 0. I'm going to start at 1, so it'll be easier to count that way. So I open up a for loop, and what I'm going to do is loop through this file one line at a time. I'm going to use the lines as a counter, so that when I get to the end of the lines, when I have no more lines to work with, the loop will stop. And I'm going to say matches is equal to, and here's my regular expression, and I use the find iteration or find item. The pattern here is the pattern that I added up here, and basically what I've said is the regular expression pattern is going to be used to search each individual line. So I've searched through the line, and then I've opened another for loop. If I have any matches inside this collection of matches, then I'm going to print out the line number and the position where it stops and the range. So what I'm doing is looking through the file one line at a time. I'm looking for this pattern, and if I find it, then I'm going to print out the line number and then the range of where it starts and stops. Now that's inside a try loop. If I don't find, well, actually, what it's the try loop is not looking for not finding results. The try loop is looking for errors. Let's say this file is not here. So Python goes in, it tries to open this file, and the file's gone. This is why we're using a try loop, because this happens. Sometimes a file gets deleted or moved, or you put in the wrong path or whatever. But the problem is this causes a program to crash very dramatically, and you don't want to do that. You want to handle your errors neatly and tidily, and you just want to tell the user what's wrong and then close the program. So what I did is inside this try loop, I'm trying to do what I want to do. If that file is not found, because that's going to be the most common error, if the file is not found, then basically what's going to happen is it's going to print file not found at whatever path that is. So that will neatly close. Pardon me, it'll print this out to tell the user what's going on, then it will neatly close the program. All right, so that is my function, basically. That's the search text function that I created. I feed it the file path and the pattern, and inside of a try loop, I open that file, I go through it line by line, I use the regular expression, and I basically look for whatever the pattern is that I'm looking for. And then if I find that pattern, I print out the line number and the range like we did last time. If the file is missing, then I handle it neatly here. Okay, now once I've got my function defined, I need to call it. So I'm going to do an if statement now. This underscore underscore name underscore is equal to main. This is the main. This is a Python construct. This is the main part of the body of my program. This is the entry point of the program. So when the program runs, this is the part of the code that's going to run. And the reason that I do that and put it in the if statement, we'll go into at a later date. You just need to know that this main tag here, this main method, is the entry point of my program. So what's going to happen when the program runs, the first thing's going to happen is I created a variable called file path, and I'm using an input statement to get input from the user. So what I'm telling is enter the path to the text file. That's going to be C:\/ Python code / text search 2.py. That's going to be the file that I'm going to search. So it's going to print out this, and the user is going to type in wherever the file is located. Then it's going to ask for a pattern. We have a variable called pattern, and we're going to get user input to put the regular expression pattern in. So that's going to be square bracket, and then the contents in the middle, and then closing square bracket. That's going to be the pattern that we're using, just like we were writing it into a code up here. And then finally, we have our function call. So the function gets called. This is the search text function up here, and it uses file underscore path, which is this variable, and pattern, which is this variable, and it feeds those two things into the function that I defined here, file path and pattern, and it does the search, and it prints out whatever it is that I need to print out. So now let's see if we can run this code and see what happens. All right, so I'm going to go Python, and I'm going to go, oh wait, first I got to get into the, oh no, I'm in the right one. Forgot, I'm in the right directory. Okay, so we're going to go text search.py, whoops. And the first thing it does is asks for the path to the text file. So I'm going to say C:\/ Python code / and I'm going to say text. hate this computer. It loses focus. And we're going to call it text search.txt. And now it wants the expression. So what I've done, I've hidden a pattern in there. So we're going to have a letter followed by a number. And it'll be the only number in the deal. And then there's another one. And that'll be the only number in the deal. So there's my pattern. Now I hit enter. Oop, and apparently that's not the name of the text file. What was the name of the text file? Let's see. Search text. I got it reversed. My bad. All right, let's try that again. Search text2.txt. So we're going to go Python. Search.py, C:\\\, PYTHON, \. And that was yeah, I'm gonna have to go look. I forgot again. My brains are losing focus here. So that was C boop boop. Name of that stupid thing. Search text 2. There we go. Wow. And then that's going to be A through Z. I really hate this computer some days. So it didn't find the other one. Huh. Interesting. A through Z. Oh, I think those spaces are not supposed to be there. And so it didn't find what it was looking for. But it did find let's try that. And sure enough, it found at position 760 on line 36 V31, which is what I put in there to replace VEL. And that's the only numbers in the entire text file. So let's go ahead and look at that just to see what it looks like. Okay, so what we have here is a lot of lorem ipsum text. But if we count down that many lines, which is going to be, what line was that? Line 36. So let's start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Somewhere right in here. Must have miscounted either that or it's not counting the. And how we find it is we do this. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, oh, it's counting lines as where we actually hit the enter, and these are all considered to be one line, so that makes sense. But anyway, regardless, you see where it says V31. Well, that's the only number, or at least that's the only place where a letter follows two numbers. Let's put it that way. So that's what the pattern it was looking for. If we go back and look at the code, oh, no, if we go back and look at what I put in, we have a letter followed by two numbers. Letter followed by two numbers without the space. I didn't put spaces in there. That's why it didn't work the first time. So we have a letter followed by two numbers, and sure enough, that is what we have. A letter followed by two numbers, and that's where it found it. All right, so that is one way of dealing with this. The reason I chose to do this is I realized after I did it, some of these things like this try loop I had not gone over, and so we're going to go ahead and catch you up with a couple of other things like the try loop and then the with statement. There's a couple of things that we hadn't done, or we hadn't done very expansively. We've actually talked about the with statement once, but because we just kind of mentioned it in passing, I wanted to go back over it. But we definitely need to go through the try statement and figure out exactly why we would use that. But regardless, this is the code that you would use to solve this problem, or this is one way to do it. So my goal is to try to work in some more useful programs. Basically, we've been doing a lot of just test programs, and they work, and they're useful. You could do useful things with them, but they're not particularly useful. For example, over the course of the weekend, or last spring break, course of the week, I wrote a program that renames all the files in a directory to fit a certain format, because I needed that format in my home media server. The files needed to be in a certain format, so I wrote this little script that renames files as you download them. They come off, and sometimes their names are not correct. They have characters that don't belong, and so I wrote a script to fix that. So we're going to start looking at useful programs. That's going to be my goal. All right, so this is not really an assignment. This is a kind of an explanation. If you haven't already, go ahead and turn in your work. Once you get your program to work, if you need help, you can use this explanation to kind of help you get through that program. If you're stuck, if you're having trouble solving the problem, then use this. But make sure you get your code turned in, and don't let it look exactly like my code. So anyway, if you have questions, I can be reached through the Canvas inbox, and if not, I will see you in class.